Hello there, my name's Scott. Today I'm going to be doing a review on the MC tank, which I received from www.mondosvapo.com, which I believe is an Italian website. Before I start, I must point out I did receive it free of charge for the purpose of conducting a review. My opinion of the product remains true, honest and accurate as always. Okay, so let's go straight ahead, show you in a bit more detail and show you how to fill it up. Okay, so the MC tank is basically made up of sort of three parts. It uses a XL Clearomizer. You then have this sort of aluminium sort of central shaft, and then you have obviously the clear sort of plastic tank section. Now this section is very thick. You can, or hopefully you can sort of see just how thick that is, and there's no sort of flexibility in that at all. It really is very sturdy. And then when you combine it with the aluminium sort of central shaft, it makes it probably one of the nice sort of sturdiest tank systems around, I would have thought anyway. Okay, so let's show you how to assemble it and fill it up with your e-liquid. Okay, so the first thing you need to do is remove all the internals from the Clearomizer. So if you just get like any old sort of battery that's got a 510 connection, just screw that on there and then give it a few twists back and forth, and then that will pop straight out. Hopefully, there you go. So that bit there, and you also need to grab this central bit here, so pop that out, take that out, and then grab hold of this bit. So the other two little pieces there, those two bits you can sort of basically sort of throw away, but you need to keep hold of this this little piece here. Now hopefully you can see that at the top and at the bottom there's two little tiny holes, and these are the filler holes which you'll use for obviously filling it up. And on either side, hopefully you can see that there is a small notch that has been cut out. Now these two notches just need to line up for where the string goes, so like that. The next thing we need to do is insert the Clearomizer inside the aluminium shaft, and you'll start off at this end, which has got the Delrin insert. Now they do advise that you put a little bit of sort of fluid like water on it just to sort of help it slide into place. So I'm just going to do that now. I'm just going to put a bit in there. Actually, I'm just going to dip it in there because it's a lot easier. So it's nice and wet. Don't worry about the water, obviously it's going to get wet anyway when you put the e-liquid in there. So then just make sure you line up the strings with the two gaps there, and then just very carefully start feeding it in. Now before I go any further, what I'd like to do is just grab the tweezers and just pull these through. I'll grab hold of it, because otherwise it all gets caught up around the bottom there. That's it. And you can carry on pushing it through, and it should hopefully be lining up with the top there, which it is. And you just got to keep on giving it a little rocking motion until it's firmly into place. I think that's in there now. Yep, that's in there. And then the next section is to add on the actual sort of plastic tank part. Now when doing this, I like to sort of try and keep these bits of wick out of the way, because otherwise what happens, you know, they all get sort of trapped underneath this bit here. And again, they recommend to sort of, you know, put a little bit of fluid on either one of these just to sort of obviously help it slide on. But all I'm doing is literally just dipping this into a little tub of water. That I find is perfectly adequate, and it slides on nice. And it's only a little dribble of water, it's not going to affect your e-liquid at all. So then basically just slide it over the top. Try and keep those bits of string out of the way. Out the way, yes. And then give it a bit of a press, and that's it. Okay, so hopefully you can see that right at the top there, right at the bottom, you've got those two little tiny holes, and that is where you're going to insert your syringe. Now I've just got my syringe filled up with some 18mg strength menthol, so I'm just going to whack that into the little hole, push it down, and then just start filling it up. Anything coming out? Where's it? It can hold quite a lot of juice, this tank, and I'm not going to bother. Normally I would sort of fill it up, so it's just sort of, you know, about another centimetre higher than that, so it's just below the top. But that's plenty of juice to keep me going for a little while, and obviously just to save a bit of time rather than me refilling another syringe up. And now once that's sort of filled up, all I need to do is add my drip tip. It just snaps into the top there. It is quite a tight fit to get the drip tips in there, but again, just a little bit sort of fluid around there, and that'll go in there nicely. And then last but not least, you then just need to attach it to whatever device you're going to be vaping on. And as you can hear, it's all firing up nicely. And that's it, it's all sorted. Just need to go and have a nice vape. Okay, so let's go and show you in action. Okay, so that is the MC tank. So what I'll do now is give you a demonstration of it in action. So I'm using it on my Pro Vary, which is set at 4.2 volts, and the resistance of the Clearomizer is reading at 2.9 ohms, and I'm just using that 18 milligram strength menthol flavoured e-liquid. As you can see, vapour production is excellent. You know, you can't fault that at all. He really is chucking out the vapour. The flavour I find from the Clearomizers is absolutely excellent as well, and you are getting that really nice strong throat hit. The only sort of slight negative with using the Clearomizers in this, so I've got a random hair there. The only sort of slight negative of using the Clearomizers in these sort of tank systems is that you'll find that the first half of the tank it will wick perfectly fine, but then the bottom half of the tank you do find that it does start getting a few sort of dry hits, so every now and again you've got to sort of turn it upside down, but literally that is all you've got to do, and then that'll give you another good sort of, you know, maybe sort of 15 sort of drags before you need to do it again. But that's the only sort of slight negative, because the heating coil is right at the top there. Obviously, you know, it's sort of defying gravity, and the e-liquid is sort of struggling to reach up to it. But the first half of the tank perfectly fine. Second half of the tank, every now and again you've got to do that. But you know, the amount of vapour you get out of it is excellent. No, really is good. Obviously, that's more to do with the actual Clearomizer rather than the actual sort of tank itself. And like the tank literally is just a liquid holder. And you know, obviously, you know, as you can see, you know, holds a really nice amount of juice. And one of these is lasting me like the full day, or a bit longer than a full day as well, really. So it is nice to sort of have that option of, you know, you can just sort of fill it up once and that's it for the rest of the day. You haven't got to worry about sort of filling it up again. Obviously, you know, if you're an extremely heavy vapour, like a chain vapour, somebody's going to be vaping from the moment you wake up to the moment you go to sleep at night. And obviously, you know, you probably will go through one of these tanks in days sort of fairly easily. But for me personally, with the amount that I vape, you know, one of these tanks is lasting me about sort of day and a half. So, you know, excellent from my point of view. And the other really good thing about using the Clearomizers in these sort of tanks is that, for whatever reason, the Clearomizers last forever. Like I've had one that's lasted me over a month, and that's been like, you know, I use that as my main vape for pretty much that whole month as well. And I didn't notice any sort of reduction in the amount of vapour, the amount of flavour, anything like that. You know, every time it's just like a, you know, bellows of vapour and you know, plenty of throat hit and loads of flavour as well. Even though the coil looked completely disgusting, it didn't seem to affect it at all. Now, there isn't a great deal else I can really sort of tell you about the MC tank. I mean, like, it is as solid as a rock. I mean, like, it really is. I mean, like, you could probably run over that with a car and probably do more damage to the car than what you would do the actual MC tank. Obviously, it has sort of slightly overcomplicated things when it comes to the actual, sort of constructing it, I suppose, or filling it out with e-liquid compared to some of the other sort of tank systems out there. But nevertheless, so, once it is constructed, then all you got to really worry about is just basically sort of injecting it with some fluid like once a day or whenever it runs out. Slight negative for those people who like to sort of change flavours on a very regular basis. There is quite a bit of faffing around to sort of obviously you've got to drain all that liquid out and then put a new set in, etc, etc. But for me personally, whereas I tend to stick with one flavour pretty much most of the time, it'll either be a nice tobacco flavour or it'll be a nice menthol flavour, like ideal for me personally. But like I said, if you are a person who does tend to sort of change flavours very often, then it might not necessarily be the tank system for you. But for me personally, vape's great, very well constructed, solid as a rock, and and does the job. No leaking whatsoever from the bottom there. You do get a little bit of sort of condensation at the top every now and again, so you do sort of taste a little bit of juice. But again, just got to pull the drip tip off, a little bit of paper towel in there just to sort of dry off that sort of bit of condensation, and that's it. You're good to go again. Anyway guys, if you fancy trying one out for yourself, go along to www.mondosvapor.com. Thank you very much for watching, and also come along and visit my website at www.e-cigreviews.com. That's e-cig-reviews.com. Cheers guys, happy vaping, see you later.